Please give a huge round of applause. Period poverty, Emily Hackett, everybody!
Thank you, Josh. We need to talk, and we need to get the government to talk about period poverty. Period. I want you to imagine you have a secret that makes you feel so uncomfortable and so worried about yourself that you can't tell your friends and you can't tell your family. I want you to imagine that this secret makes you feel so ashamed you don't want to leave the house and you can't. I want you to imagine that this secret has robbed you of the education you both need and you deserve. Now, what we've both all imagined here today is actually, in fact, the sad reality for over 800 million girls worldwide in developing countries who miss school frequently due to the simple fact that they're on their period. This fact is shocking, but why do I care about it? I've grown up in the 5th largest economy in the world, always had access to menstrual products, and even asked my dad to buy them if I needed to. Thanks, Dad, that one's for you. But this matters to me because a couple of years ago, I heard a shocking statistic that 23% of girls growing up in India actually leave school and drop out when their period starts. So almost a quarter of the Indian female population lose their right to an education simply because they have a uterus. That's shocking, right? So I decided I wanted to do something about it. So after university, obviously not knowing what I wanted to do with my life, I decided I wanted to go with a charity to India to work in a rural community for 3 months, trying to reduce the stigma surrounding periods. The stigma that women on their periods who are menstruating are unclean or impure, that they shouldn't leave the house or maybe shouldn't enter the temple because of it. So we work with the local community, with girls, to encourage them that periods are part of a healthy, safe and normal part of life, and the reason that all of us are here today. But what was shocking in the local community there was that the toilets in local schools were shared with boys. There were no bins in the toilets at all, and sometimes there was no running water. This, on top of the fact that sanitary items were unaffordable and inaccessible, you can see why the reasons girls wouldn't want to attend school. So we worked with local girls in schools and community groups to try and encourage girls and work with them to learn how to make their own reusable, safe menstrual pads for girls who wouldn't be able to afford them. But also, most importantly, we petitioned our local authorities to provide bins, shared toilets, access to clean water and separate toilet spaces so girls could not only have a dignified education at school but could remain there during their period and not miss out and not fall behind simply because they were a woman. I came back to the UK and a part of me thought to myself, it's great what I've been involved in, but maybe this is just something that happens in developing countries, in India, and it's a huge piece of work and it's so important. And coming back to the UK, I was shocked one day. I was listening to the radio and I found out that 2 girls were speaking in Leeds. Both of them had missed school frequently, month after month, because they didn't have access to sanitary products. They couldn't afford them. They didn't know what was going on with their own bodies. This is period poverty. This is real. And it got me thinking, and I did some research. Did you know there are 170,000 British girls who in 2017 missed a day of school because they couldn't afford access to sanitary products? This is 2018 and we're one of the richest countries in the world. This is really shocking. Girls as young as 10 are using things like socks, newspaper. This isn't dignified and it robs girls of their education they need and they deserve. So 2 things I want to encourage you to do today. I want you to go away and I want you to talk openly. This speech isn't just for women, it's for men, it's for your brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts. It's for everyone to be able to speak about periods openly with everyone, to make sure that people know what's going on in their bodies. It's healthy, safe and normal. I want to normalize it. But also, I'd really love you to support the movement #FreePeriod on change.org. It's not my petition, by the way, it's not a shameless plug. But it petitions for the government to support girls from lower socio-economic backgrounds, girls that have free school lunches, to be given the right to have free sanitary care. This makes sure that girls in the UK who are from deprived and poorer backgrounds are still able to access the education that they need, so as not to fall behind, so as not to be socially excluded just because they're women. But most importantly, this is why it's time to bloody start talking about periods. Period.
Really good.